Thank you all. I want to welcome you to this incredibly special night, our 15th annual benefit here in our hometown. What a great town it is. Thank you all. In 15 years, Cure has grown tremendously in dollars raised, in our strategic investment in cutting-edge research, and most importantly, in the impact our research program has had on driving progress toward a cure for epilepsy. Your presence here means so very much to us. Many of you have been with us since we began back in 1999. Others have joined us more recently, some tonight for the very first time. We welcome each and every one of you and hope you all know how much your support means. We're here tonight for the 1 in 26 Americans who will develop epilepsy in their lifetime. We're here for everyone who is living with epilepsy. Whether your seizures are well controlled and you can lead your life with minimal complications, or as is the case for between 30 and 40% of patients, if your seizures are not treatable and can have intolerable or devastating consequences. We are here for future generations so that they can grow up thinking that epilepsy is a disease that has finally, once and for all, been conquered. And we are here tonight for all the families and friends who have lost loved ones to epilepsy. We stand with you, committed to this most horrendous and so often unspoken about consequence of this disease. Tonight, we remember Christopher, whose life was cut short by epilepsy just months before he was to graduate from college. He died of what's called sudden unexplained death in epilepsy. Chris was an ambitious student with a wicked sense of humor and a great love for baseball. He had so much more living to do. Tonight, we are here for Olivia, who many of you may remember from last year's video. Olivia continues to have clusters of seizures every single day. Her mother, Polly, wrote me from an emergency room just 2 nights ago. She said, quote, "What we want more than anything is for Olivia to spend less time in the hospital and the emergency room and more time doing the things she loves doing, going to school, playing with her brother, and being with friends and family. We know the treatments that exist today are not the answer for her, and only research gives us the hope that there will still be a chance for her to live a life without all these seizures." Tonight, we honor our friend, Captain Pat Horan. Pat was gravely injured during a night mission in Baghdad in July of 2007. He has worked diligently since that day to regain his ability to do the things that most of us take for granted: the use of his right arm, walking, talking, reading, and writing. 4 months after his injury, he had his first seizure and has suffered with epilepsy ever since. Each seizure he has can wipe out the progress he's made in his rehabilitation. The drug haze he is in from the epilepsy medications makes his recovery even more challenging. Pat's heroism knows no bounds. And tonight, we celebrate our friend Howard. Howard is here tonight. At the age of 28, Howard suffered a major seizure and was diagnosed with epilepsy. The cause, still unknown. His treatment similar to that of so many others, one unsuccessful medication after another, sometimes up to as many as 7 at a time, each with significant side effects. But Howard was lucky. Tests showed that his seizures all came from one spot in his brain, and that surgical removal of that spot was unlikely to leave him with permanent ill effects. He had the procedure and has not had a seizure for 9 years. He is leading a full and happy life. And tonight I am thinking about Carol, who had her first seizure at the age of 18, just weeks before heading off to school. She too struggled with medication side effects, but in her case, the drugs at least kept her seizures at bay. Having been seizure-free for years, she came off of the medications in her 30s, believing that she had been cured. But decades later, her seizures returned, out of the blue, and she returned to a life of daily medications. Although she hasn't had a seizure in 8 years now, she says she will never come off of them again until, in her words, cure is out of business and we have found a true cure. Tonight, we applaud the spirit of this young man. Alex was a proud, engaged sophomore at the University of Michigan when he contracted viral encephalitis. The brain swelling led to life-threatening, unremitting seizures for which he was placed in a coma for 6 months. Nerve damage from the coma left him unable to walk, and his epilepsy today is controlled only by multiple difficult medications. Through all his challenges, his fundamental joy in living and his drive to engage the world remains. The walls of his room are lined with framed responses from government officials and sports figures to whom he continually writes to raise awareness of epilepsy, including one from our own Theo Epstein. Although Alex is not from Chicago, he loves the Cubs. He loves them because he loves the underdog. They embody the fighting spirit, and he has high hopes for them to win a pennant someday soon, and for us to find a cure even sooner. Tonight, we are here for Ella. Ella is counting on us. She had her first seizure 2 days after her first birthday. She is now 3.5, and her seizures have continued despite 11 different medications and a special diet. The seizures are slowing her development. As her family travels the country seeking answers, Ella greets each and every new doctor with her contagious smile and indelible spirit that you can see before you. She and her family anxiously await the advances in epilepsy research that they know will provide the answers that can change the course of Ella's life. And finally, tonight, I am here for Lauren, my daughter. It's been almost 32 years since she had her first seizure. She is my inspiration and what drives my passion for this cause. Lauren is resilient, determined, and has an unparalleled, though admittedly sometimes exasperating, will that knows no bounds. Those of us who know and love her know exactly what I mean. But when I reflect back on all that she was up against in her young life, I totally understand why she has that fight in her. She could have up to 25 seizures every day. She endured over 20 different drug trials, surgeries, and horrific diets. She was terrified of when and where the next seizure might strike. Her life consisted of countless hospitalizations and emergency room visits, injuries from falls, and dragging herself through horrendous drug-induced days. She was robbed of so much of her childhood by this disease. And her future has been shaped by the lifelong impact of repeated seizures on her developing brain. Her story and the others I've shared with you tonight cannot be allowed to continue. Tonight, you are helping us fight on behalf of Christopher, Olivia, Pat, Howard, Carol, Ella, Lauren, and the millions just like them worldwide who need us to fight and to fight even harder. We are on the cusp of really meaningful breakthroughs, but we need your continued help and support now more than ever to achieve them. You can help us defeat this disease. Thank you so very much for joining us tonight. It is really a privilege to share our stories with you.